Special Edition cu Bogdan, Serban și Alexandru Anghel.
Cei care practic vor deschide Summerwell-ul anul ăsta, de fapt a doua zi de Summerwell, și anume HÆLOS.
So welcome guys, first time in Romania for you.
Yeah.
You've moved pretty fast with HÆLOS, I mean, but I know that outside the band you've had a pretty long history in music, each one of you.
I think we've all
Closer to the mic, please.
Sorry, we've all been in different projects and we've all been doing music for a long time. But yeah, you're correct. This project came.
And how it started for you separately?
What, music in general?
Yeah. And when?
I mean, I suppose, it's kind of evolved a lot through the years. You know, you start with your first guitar and you're kind of chilling. I think I was 8 years old, and I didn't realize that you had to push down on the frets. I couldn't work out why this thing wasn't making any noise, and then you just move on, and I got into electronic music. Well, my favorite band was Radiohead when I was like 12, and
12?
Yeah, well, I was into the Bends. I know, sorry.
Wow.
I'm 30 though, so
Right.
I've been around, and so yeah, and then when your favorite guitar band, when I was 16, they brought out Kid A, and that kind of got me into electronic music. So I got into music production around then. And
do you like their new album?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm biased though.
It's a routine question for most of the Summerwell's performance. You're the first time here in Eastern Europe, at least. What did you know about this part of the world, about Romania? Except Dracula, please.
That it's very beautiful.
All right.
Yeah. And also, we've been learning a little bit about your culture. We were trying to make the connection between Rome and Romania, and because the architecture is very classical, and
we are Latin people.
Exactly. And our guitarist is from Mexico, and he speaks Spanish, and he's going. Why can I understand some of the words? And it's because, and then we spoke to a girl in a bar last night. She said, because Romania, everybody's invaded Romania. So
somehow in history.
Yeah. And it makes a beautiful culture. You know, a mixture of lots of different things. And
for me, it's I love your techno music, minimal techno. People like Raresh, and there's that, and also your wine is amazing. So regions are amazing around here. So I'm very into that as well.
Cool.
You should find some Romanian wine in England also. Prahova Valley, I think, Hellwood, I don't know, something. Yeah. Anyway, you are a part of the great electronic music family. Is there any music type in the least, let's say, 10 years that you have noticed in particular?
I mean, not necessarily a particular
new genre.
Well, I mean, as I said, like that, the stuff coming out of Romania is amazing, and influencing everyone. Ricardo Villalobos is really into it. And,
give me some names.
So Raresh is an example, and it's awesome, and as I mentioned before, and but then also there's loads of producers being influenced by that as well. You've got people like Nicholas Jar who are holding down projects like Dark Side, but also his own electronic stuff. I love Dan Snaith, everything he does with Daphne and Caribou. Fortet, there's like, I mean, at the moment, a real plethora of incredible like electronic producers out there. It's really kind of an enlightenment moment, I think, for electronic music. Kind of, it's really pushed it on, and I think people understanding that you have to mix old with new, and so like you've got voltage controlled synthesizers, but also you've got more modern stuff, and I think it's understanding the balance between the two, which is what's beautiful about today.
So let's go back to your band.
Yeah.
Do you prefer to be called HÆLOS or HÆLOS?
HÆLOS.
Okay, because in interviews I've heard both versions.
The people are getting it wrong if they're saying it the other way.
Okay.
HÆLOS.
Unlike the media circus around the big albums, you've just put a single out there and a photo of you, and it was successful. So do you think that is there too much fuss around marketing nowadays?
Look, I think for us, we started the project and it was just a random afternoon. We decided to put it up, and we weren't really prepared for everything that followed. And we didn't have a photo, and as you said, we put it up and with no expectations of it. It was more just to show our friends that we weren't just hiding away in a bedroom doing nothing, that we were actually working. I think that if the music is good, it will speak for itself, and you don't necessarily need all the other stuff around it. It should just be about the music, and luckily for us, people responded to the music just as it was. So,
They
so
did,
that worked
yeah.
for us.
I think though, in answer to your question, I think it's like it's a great age for music in some ways, and it's not in others. You know, like in some ways you can put a track online and like a day later it's being played in Australia, being played in the west coast of America, like, you know, like Dust, that happened to us, you know, and that's very powerful and quite democratic, you know what I mean? It allows anybody to enter into the industry, like based on merit, you know what I mean? And but I think obviously like the downside of that is that it means that people like always want the next thing. They want something new, you know what I mean? And actually like I think that the thing that we found that's been the challenge has been to try and take that initial buzz and like to turn it into a career, you know, because you need to work incredibly hard to sort of to, you know, just to keep people's attention going. You know, you need to feed people with more new music and stuff like that. So that's something we've been very, very aware of, and it's kind of motivated us, I think, to keep making music, you know, like to keep people's interest peaked and stuff, and to keep our own interest peaked. We're sort of affected by it as well, you know, like we have the same thing where it's like, you know, I've heard that tune, you know, and like cool, whatever, you know. So I guess like it's evolving really quickly, and that means it's an interesting thing for music. It's a good time, you know.
By the way, how did Uncle James Lavelle get to remix your song, Dust?
We actually
send it?
we were kind of close at the beginning. One of the labels that were interested us with was Marathon, which is a label which James is affiliated with, and we didn't actually meet him then, but I think that might have been when we got onto his radar, and obviously for us it was hugely complimentary, and you know he's a bit of a godfather of the scene, and so we were like, yeah, of course we'd love that. So we really like what he did as well.
To be clear, can you please define Haelos sound? What's specific to your music? What's the trademark of your music?
It was a blogger in the UK coined it as dark euphoria, and we quite like that as a description of the music. And I think throughout the music, you know, we often pair the euphoric moments with maybe a darker lyric or you know, a sadder moment. So I think for us it kind of perfectly describes it.
So the record full circle, 5 words to describe it?
5 words.
Or
Stick your headphones on now.
Hey! Wow, good. I like a lot your debut album, Full Circle, especially its cover. What is it? An eclipse?
That's kind of open to interpretation. I mean,
actually, what is it?
It's so at the beginning we were kind of making like a wall of art and stuff. We were putting things on a wall and kind of playing with ideas, and our friend Laura actually drew the original version of this, and we then kind of developed it and took a photograph of it and kind of like and played with the kind of focus to kind of try and make it feel like you're wormholing, and for us it's you know it's a symbol of a circle at its simplest form. It's like the cyclical nature of life, but we wanted it to be interpreted by anyone who's looking at it. You know, we wanted it to, you know, a circle is something that means something in religion, means something in science, and that was our objective.
I like, for the eclipse interpretation of it, because obviously, like, you know, it doesn't have to be that, but that we quite like the idea of, you know, eclipses in all different cultures are always about a moment of realization, sort of, and also it's when it's
almost spiritual
for sure, and it's also when the sun is obscured, you know, like but you like, so it's a period of darkness and reflection, and then but you always know the sun will re-emerge on the other side. So we quite like that as a it's almost like a snapshot of a moment, you know, and that's what this record felt like for us, writing it in particular. And so yeah, that's cool. If you want to interpret it like that, it's cool, you know.
All right, I love Separate Life song. Is it a personal story for any of you, that song?
All the songs are personal stories, I think.
But this one, what's the story behind this song? I played last week a few times in my show.
Like, I think like all of our songs, it's like separate between the music and the lyrics. You know, like the music was quite long term. I mean, the synth part was something that I had like years ago and never used, and kind of it was kind of always weighing on my mind about it, and played it to these guys kind of during Haelos, and they liked that. But like the lyrics are kind of again like
it's a heartbreak song, isn't it? It's like trying to make a relationship work and then it not working, and
but in a way it's uplifting.
Yeah, of course.
It's the hope. It's still there's still something to hold on to there. So it's not that it's it's the heartbreak, but you're at the edge of that, and that choice whether you decide to hold on and fight through or to let go, and it's not really. I don't know that's decided in the song. It's open for whoever's listening to it to kind of make that interpretation.
And somehow it's a dance floor filler.
Yeah, and live very much so. And it's one of the only tracks on the record that we do quite separate vocals, male, female. Throughout the rest of the record, there's a lot of harmonies and singing all together. So that was a real moment vocally as well, to have those sort of separate sides to it, and the male and female sort of emotions in that song.
And last question about the full circle. You think it will be hard to even or overcome the first album's success?
Of course not.
We've already started. I mean,
pressure.
There is obviously the looming pressure of your second record, but I think we're lucky enough to just sort of so love what we're doing, and even when we finished writing Full Circle, 3 days later we were in the studio writing more.
Now that you know each other well or better anyway,
yeah,
is
and
it
we've
easier?
experienced so much, and the first record was written very much out in an isolated environment in London in a small studio, and we've now been on the road, we've traveled the world, we've met new people, we've heard new music and played live, and all those experiences are feeding into this next record, which is really exciting.
It feels like the first record was like the big engineering project where we were like kind of terraforming and trying to find out how everything worked. And now it feels like we've laid the rails and we just have to kind of follow the train down the track.
Okay, and in the end,
That's good.
In the end, please ask a question for ears and ears. They are up next today. Yeah.
Or Blossoms.
I mean, we were in the only kind of time we've met. We were in a hotel at the same time in West Hollywood after Coachella, and met one of their guys, and so I don't know. Oh yeah. What was it like working with Mark Ralph, who I think produced the record? Is an old
By
friend
the way,
of mine.
yesterday the guys from the neighborhood told us to tell you to just go for it.
Yeah.
Do you know each other?
No, but thanks very much, the neighborhood.
Yeah,
you guys are rad. Cheers.
And finally, I'm very curious. What music you have on your phones right now?
Both the new Massive Attack EPs, they're really good.
Paint.
Warpaint. We're really looking forward to the new record. Like we've had a little sneak preview of it because we're on the same label group as them.
And also, I just did a remix of Local Natives, so it's like
Nice.
Got a bit of their new album kind of hanging around, which is looking really great as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Haelos. Ei vor deschide încă o dată, vă amintesc scena astăzi de Summerwell.
Special edition cu Bogdan, Serban și Alexandru Anghel.